I don't think people understand the true impact of 90s hip-hop rivalries on the music industry. The 90s were an era of evolution and conflict for hip-hop, a time when the genre transitioned from underground movements to a global phenomenon. It was a decade marked by the rise of new sounds, styles, and voices that would forever change the landscape of music. From the gritty streets of New York to the sun-soaked avenues of Los Angeles, hip-hop was more than just music. It was a cultural revolution. Graffiti artists painted the town with vibrant colors, DJs spun records that made crowds move, and MCs told stories that resonated with the struggles and triumphs of everyday life. At the heart of this story were figures like Sean P. Diddy Combs, a visionary who saw the potential of hip-hop beyond the music. He was not just a producer, but a mogul in the making, someone who understood the power of branding and business. Alongside him were other titans like Suge Knight, Tupac Shakur, and Biggie Smalls, whose rivalries not only shaped the sound but changed the very structure of the industry. These were not just artists. They were icons whose lives and conflicts played out like a modern-day epic. Before the East Coast and West Coast rivalry took center stage, hip-hop had to make its way from the streets of the Bronx to the mainstream. The early 80s saw the rise of breakdancing, graffiti art, and MC battles, but it wasn't until groups like Run DMC and Public Enemy broke through that hip-hop became a commercial force. As the genre spread across the country, so did the regional differences in style and culture. DJ Kool Herc and Grandmaster Flash were pivotal in shaping the sound and style of early hip-hop. The fashion, the music, and the attitude of hip-hop began to influence mainstream culture. Dance crews and rap battles became a staple of the culture, showcasing the raw talent and creativity of the youth. Radio shows and music videos helped to spread the hip-hop movement, making it accessible to a wider audience. Collaborations and award shows further cemented hip-hop's place in the mainstream, making it a dominant force in the music industry. In the early 90s, two record labels began to dominate the hip-hop scene. Suge Knight's Death Row Records on the West Coast. Suge Knight, a former football player turned music mogul, had a vision of creating a label that would represent the raw, unfiltered voice of the streets. On the other side of the country, Sean P. Diddy Combs' Bad Boy Records was making waves on the East Coast. P. Diddy, known for his entrepreneurial spirit and keen ear for talent, built Bad Boy Records into a powerhouse. These labels weren't just competing in terms of sales, they were shaping the cultural and stylistic future of hip-hop. The rivalry between Death Row and Bad Boy was more than just a business competition. It was a clash of ideologies and artistic visions. Death Row, with artists like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac, cultivated the G-Funk sound, a fusion of gangster rap and P-Funk that resonated with the streets. Bad Boy, on the other hand, embraced a polished, radio-friendly style, bringing the bling era of rap to the forefront with artists like Biggie Smalls, Mace, and 112. While there was always competition between the coasts, the media played a pivotal role in escalating the rivalry into a full-blown feud. Sensationalist headlines and provocative interviews stoked the flames, turning what was initially a friendly competition into a dangerous conflict. Hip-hop magazines, radio stations, and music video channels thrived on the tension, often sensationalizing beefs between artists to attract viewers and listeners. The media played a crucial role in amplifying these rivalries, making them seem larger than life. Interviews were edited to appear more confrontational, with sound bites taken out of context to fuel the fire. The narrative of East Coast versus West Coast became a selling point for an audience hungry for drama. This rivalry was not just about music, it was about identity, pride, and regional loyalty. Fans were drawn into the drama, buying magazines, tuning into radio shows, and watching TV programs that promised the latest scoop on their favorite artists. Award shows and public appearances became battlegrounds where artists would throw shade, further stoking the flames of rivalry. Music video premieres and album release parties were highly anticipated events, often overshadowed by the ongoing feuds. The influence of these rivalries extended beyond music, impacting fashion, street art, and the overall culture of the 90s hip-hop scene. At the heart of the East Coast and West Coast feud were two men, Suge Knight and P-Diddy. Both were savvy businessmen with big personalities, but their approaches to the industry couldn't have been more different. Suge Knight was known for his intimidating persona and street reputation, running death row records like a fortress. P. Diddy, on the other hand, cultivated a clean-cut image as a party-loving entrepreneur who turned Bad Boy into a brand that extended beyond music into fashion and lifestyle. Suge Knight's Death Row Records was home to some of the most influential artists of the time, including Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac Shakur. P. Diddy, meanwhile, was instrumental in the careers of artists like the notorious Biggs, Maze, and Faith Evans, shaping the sound of East Coast hip-hop. The rivalry between these two moguls was not just about music, it was a clash of lifestyles and business philosophies. While Suge Knight's approach was aggressive and confrontational, P. Diddy focused on building a glamorous and aspirational brand. Their rivalry left an indelible mark on the hip-hop industry, influencing how future generations of artists and executives would navigate the business. Beyond the public feuds and personal attacks, the rivalry between Death Row and Bad Boy was largely fought through the music. Biggie and Tupac, once friends, became symbolic of their respective coasts, with their lyrical battles often escalating into personal jabs. Tupac's Hit 'Em Up was one of the most scathing diss tracks in history, while Biggie's Who Shot Ya was interpreted by many as a veiled attack on Tupac, further deepening the divide. These musical battles not only fueled the rivalry but also captivated fans and the media, making headlines and shaping the narrative of 90s hip-hop. The intensity of these battles highlighted the competitive nature of the genre, pushing artists to elevate their craft and leaving a lasting impact on the industry. Even today, the legacy of these musical battles continues to influence and inspire new generations of hip-hop artists and fans alike. The deaths of Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls marked the darkest chapter in the East Coast and West Coast rivalry. These two iconic figures were not just rappers, they were cultural icons whose music and personas transcended the genre, influencing countless fans and artists around the world. While neither murder has been definitively solved, many believe that the escalating tension between Death Row and Bad Boy played a significant role in the violence that ensued. The rivalry between these two record labels was more than just a business competition. It was a battle for dominance in the hip-hop world, fueled by personal vendettas and public feuds. Biggie's murder in Los Angeles, just 6 months after Tupac's, has left a lasting shadow over the hip-hop community. His death was a devastating blow, not only to his fans, but also to the music industry as a whole. The loss of these two legends has sparked numerous conspiracy theories and debates, with many still seeking justice and answers to this day. Their untimely deaths serve as a grim reminder of the destructive power of rivalry and the tragic consequences that can arise from unresolved conflicts. In the wake of these tragedies, the hip-hop world was forced to reflect on the cost of the rivalry. The deaths of Biggie and Tupac left a void that was felt deeply across the industry. Diddy, devastated by the loss of his friend Biggie, channeled his grief into a new chapter of his career, using music as a form of healing. He released the Grammy-winning I'll Be Missing You, a tribute that resonated with fans worldwide and became an anthem of remembrance. Beyond music, Diddy focused on expanding his business empire, venturing into fashion, media, and other industries, solidifying his status as a mogul. Meanwhile, Suge Knight's Death Row Records began to crumble under legal troubles, with lawsuits and scandals tarnishing its legacy. The violence of the 90s gave way to a more introspective, business-focused era of hip-hop in the early 2000s, as artists sought to build lasting legacies beyond the music.